Well, our children enter the school at the age of 4 and we start at the age of 4. We also work with our children right the way through the school, but children at the age of 4 are able to use the tools and techniques just as effectively as adults, as older children.
Ideally, CoRT and thinking should be taught specifically as a separate subject, because there are youngsters who are not very good at other subjects who turn out to be very good at thinking. And if it's taught as a separate subject, they can show their motivation, their ability in that area. Now, if that's not easy, then I would teach it as part of language skills, English or any others. There's good evidence that show teaching thinking is the best way of improving literacy and writing and so on.
All schools in England are required to teach thinking. However, not all schools, I don't think, are managing that yet because they're not aware of what's available. And I think it's one of those areas of the curriculum that covers right across a curriculum. Without the structure, then I think some schools are struggling to manage this at the moment.
CoRT would have to be brought in as a whole school policy, or at least a number of teachers in the school doing the CoRT programme and cooperating with one another. For one teacher to do it in isolation would be frustrating and I won't say futile. It has an effect, but it requires more than just one teacher for 1 year doing it.
I think there is an issue of training, so teachers do need to think about being trained to use it. Now, that's not a big issue. It doesn't mean like long periods of training, but it's worth taking part in a CoRT lesson with your colleagues, say, so you can understand the power of the tools.
We as a school underwent a day of training where all staff, not just teachers but teaching assistants, all support staff were available as well, and that was enough for us to have the knowledge of what to do and how to do it. The next step on from there is to actually implement it into the curriculum, to find out where it fits.
My experience over the years would be take time to get to know the thinking skills yourself, because although as a teacher you're not sitting there as an expert on thinking, it's good to know that the tools work. One of the arguments we sometimes see put against the idea of teaching is that you don't teach thinking. Thinking is something that evolves, thinking is something that comes out from other subjects, but actually it isn't the case. Thinking is a specific skill. Teaching it to someone gives them tools that they can use and apply across both academic work, their social life, behavioural issues that they face. And as I say, we've been able to apply it in industry in complex situations as well as schools with children who are very antisocial and have switched off from society. And it's a very powerful set of tools.
I don't think any of us expected that children could think. It sounds a crazy thing to say for a teacher. We know we all have to think. I don't think any of us had recognised the ability of our children to manage their thinking. And I think we have been hugely surprised and amazed by how capable and competent they are in managing that.
Would you be able to explain the tools to your mums and dads and how to use them? Do you think your mums and dads could use them for any things, any problems at home to sort out? What can you think of one they might be able to use it for?
Well, they might be thinking to shout. They might feel sad of shouting.
Certainly when we started using these CoRT materials with children, we quite quickly found that teachers would say to us, look, we'd like to use those as well. So we used to run sessions, either lunchtime sessions or after school sessions with teachers to actually get them to use the thinking skills to solve their own issues as teachers, and then they could then apply it to the children, but they found it useful problem-solving tools themselves, and that convinced them of the value of it.
I think the obstacles were, this is something new, we haven't done it before, I wonder what it is, I wonder how it will work. None of us are very good at taking risks because we don't have the time in education. However, the benefits that we were able to isolate actually show that actually were worth working with. And actually this should come before we deliver any curriculum, because if children can think and manage their thinking, have the independence to think and the confidence, then all learning is accessible.
One of the barriers is materials look dated. The materials as they currently exist do look like something produced a long time ago. Some of the problem situations they include are not particularly appealing. So I think what I tend to say to teachers is, look, instead of use the tools, but wait, in setting the problems that are going to be addressed, think about problems which make sense for the context in which you're teaching, and come up with those as a way of presenting it. So it means something to the children in their lives.
Our experience is very positive. Again, going back to working with teachers again, as we said at the beginning, were concerned about taking this risk of doing something different. The benefits have outweighed that. What they see are children who are able to manage and be more confident.
Once you kind of get past the idea that it's an important thing to teach, and yes, we need to find some space for teaching it, it's very important, because what happens is once you've taught it, then you can refer to it in other contexts. So a teacher can remind students that maybe we could apply this tool to look at a particular question. So well outside of the context of the thinking lesson, you can apply the tools in other frameworks.
They love it because it's easy and simple. It's done with the letters of the tools, and children quickly pick up the PMI, the CAF, OPV, and they very quickly know which ones to select. And actually that's what we want. That's our aim for the end of the children being at our school, is then to select the correct tool for the job.
As a teaching aid, the CoRT programme is probably the best that any teacher, the best aid that any teacher could have. The teacher will find that from the role of didactic approach, where the teacher is imparting knowledge, the teacher can actually sit back, take a sideline seat, and there is a collegiate atmosphere in the classroom where now the students can be just given a few simple directions at the start, especially with project work on any topic. The students can be given a few simple directions at the start, and the teacher can sit back and will be astounded by the work that will come out of it.
Any new tools, any new initiatives are something else for teachers to take on board. So I think possibly for some teachers there is some resistance because a lot is imposed upon us. However, it is worth investigating the impact it makes on standards of teaching and learning. And I think if people were able to recognise that and have evidence of that, they'd be convinced by it.
I think the first thing to know is that it can be done, that the teachers can do it, that the youngsters not only accept it, they enjoy it. And whenever CoRT is taught in schools, the pupils always choose it as their favourite subject. So it can be done, pupils like it, makes sense, causes, brings about improvement, as I mentioned before, in every other subject area, gives children self-confidence, and is of use to them in their life, even outside school.
The children's learning abilities improve dramatically. Probably my best illustration being the way a class I had now at a small country school, by applying the CoRT lessons to projects, competitions, national competitions, they applied the CoRT tools, and using them they won 3 top national competitions for schools.
My aim and goal in all of this is to get it into as many schools worldwide and do as many cultures as possible.
I would be enthusiastic about teaching a strategy for thinking to children. I think it'd be of great benefit to them, both academically and in life, outside school even.
I would certainly like to see CoRT brought into every school. I think thinking skills are central to developing a worthwhile education, but also central to people being able to manage their lives for the future.
Do you like using the tools?
Yes.
I would advocate CoRT. I do regularly to other schools that it works for our children. We have research to show that.
Well done. What stars you are. Fantastic.
Can we go to lunch now?
You're starving hungry, are you? You look
I
starving
always am.
hungry. Go on then. Thank you very much. Thanks for helping.
Bye.